it's starting. There we go. We are live.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Eric from Longbox Review, longboxreview.wordpress.com, doing a special video cast with my good buddy Travis.
Hey there.
Okay, so like I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is all foreign to me, and I'm running new equipment, Travis. Well, it's not a new video camera, but I'm not using my webcam that I have been using for videos, and I've got a new microphone and a mic stand. I feel very professional, except I'm not.
Nice.
All right. Anyway, so we are here to test this out because actually this whole thing is to try and use Hangouts to do a special Q&A. Well, not Q&A technically, but to do a special broadcast later, I think this month, if all goes well, to do the Longbox Review Best of 2013 podcast or videocast, or they're just casts, I guess. So we'll see how this goes. But the topic of today's show is breaking late news. Is something that Travis and I do every once in a while, where we have a bunch of news topics that we want to just discuss, and I pulled a bunch of things from that, from the list, and we're just going to talk about those and see where the discussion goes. So, you ready,
Sounds
Travis?
Good. Yep.
All right.
Always ready to gossip.
Yeah. Okay, so I have. Oh wait, you just told me something before we went on air. So why don't you start with that?
So I heard today that John Layman is not going to be one of the 4 writers that is on, what do they call it? Is it Batman Eternal or is it Gotham Eternal? I can't remember what the title is. The weekly Batman book that's supposed to be coming out. He was one of the main 4 writers that was going to be on it, and either late yesterday or today, he let slip or somebody else let slip that he wasn't going to be on it anymore, and that it wasn't. He's actually got a thing on Bleeding Cool where he actually writes his own thing saying, about it, and that there's no bad blood between him and DC or anything like that. He was signed up to do X number of issues. He fulfilled those issues, and he's a slow writer, and he wants to get back to really concentrating on Chew, and didn't feel like he was going to be able to. He felt like he was playing keep up as opposed to actually writing what he really wanted to write. So yeah, he's done. But I haven't heard who's replacing him though. But it sounds to me like internally they know that he wasn't going to be on the book for a while now. It's not like he just suddenly decided yesterday. But
Makes you wonder.
I think he's doing 4. He's got like 4 more issues to come out, and some of it is part of the Eternal work. So
it makes you wonder, though, given that information about him, how did he get involved in the project to begin with, and why did he agree to do it?
Because he wasn't on Detective anymore. I mean, Detective was the book that he was on. That was what he was signed up to write, and he was signed up to write X number of issues on Detective. And then they had Manipool and what's his name. We're going to do a fill-in issue, and then that became more than a fill-in issue. So they kind of uninvited him off of that book. Tried to get him to do some other books, which wasn't going to work out for him in one way or another. And So the Eternal thing. And the Eternal thing, it sounds like you'd be busy all the time, but it sounds to me like the format they're using, you're going to have your however many issues ready by a certain time, but it's not like you're having to write, 4 issues a month or anything, because this book, unlike the old 52, that long series, where all the writers kind of wrote together, no one person owned an issue per se. This is actually sounds to me like it's going to be this arc this writer owns it, the next arc, the next writer owns it, not a mix of them all writing together.
Hmm.
So, so I don't know. I don't know. I think he signed up for that because that was going to give him the rest of the work that he was contracted to do. You know, like he had signed up to say, I'm going to do 18 issues or whatever, and that fulfilled his 18 issues or
Hmm.
20 issues or whatever it is, I think. Technically, he's been writing the book. He's written 16 issues of Detective Comic. That's about where, you know, you start seeing the numbers slide from most books. You get that numbers slump, and that's usually when when the big two want to do something else with the book when that slump hits. So I don't know, probably a good combination of time for him to move on, kind of a thing.
Hmm. Well, at first when you were talking about it, I was thinking, well, it sounds like DC wants to keep him around, but maybe it is a contractual thing. And
Well, no, I mean, they offered him other books. They offered him other books. It's just he admits that he's slow at processing what he needs to do, and you know he's into like 40 issues of Chew. He wants to like he's got like a quarter of the book left to write before Chew ends. He really wants to commit more time to that. He wants to wake up in the morning and think of new creator owned type things as opposed to it all being about detective and Batman. Detective and Batman isn't going to go anywhere. You know, it's always going to be there, and he hopes to go back to that someday. But this other stuff isn't always going to be there. Is what his thing is about it. So I don't know. I mean, I think obviously DC wanted him to do other stuff, or they wouldn't have asked him to go and do that weekly comic. I would think.
yeah, especially a weekly comic, and given DC's love for that particular printing
Right.
format, it's a big deal to them. In other words, so
Right. Right. So I think they had faith in the guy. I don't think that's I don't think that's I don't think that was the issue. I don't think there was nothing for him to do, so he left, kind of a thing. I
mhm.
think it was his own choice. So
Hmm.
whatever,
Well,
interesting.
yeah, I have to give him props. You know, it's always good when a creative person signs up to do something and they realize, well, this maybe is not going to work out. So rather than putting out potential crap,
Right.
they say, you know what, this is not working out for either party.
Hmm.
So it's better if I walk away now.
Yeah.
So I
And
appreciate that.
and he reemphasizes many times there's no creative differences. He gets along with everybody that he's worked with, all the staff and the other creators, and he says he kind of feels bad that the news is coming coming when it is, because he doesn't want it to hurt that next project. He doesn't want people to try and spin it into something that it's going to be a giant disaster because it doesn't have, because he's not on it, or there's this whatever. He does not want it to hurt that next project because he thinks it's going to be good or whatever.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Right.
There's too many bridges that seem to be getting burned or attempted to be burned here in the last year or two at DC especially. So
Yeah, and he kind of made the smart ass comment. Whatever that, there's that web page out there somewhere that kind of keeps track of how long it is before DC screws something else up, and they keep
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's perpetually at zero, whatever. He laughs at them and says, "Sorry, you can't take me as one of your things to put it to set it back to zero again or whatever." But
I wonder if they will anyway.
who knows?
All
But,
right. Okay. So anything else involving that or any other
nope.
news bits you want to bring up? Okay. So
Mm,
let's. So
you got
when
your
did
list, so
yeah when did you see that? Was that this morning?
yeah, yeah.
And was that posted this morning? That bit of news?
The Bleeding Cool thing, I believe, was posted. He actually had an article about it. It was posted. I just happened to come on Twitter at about, I don't know, 9 o'clock Pacific time, and he was already kind of talking about it. And
Oh,
I
okay.
couldn't, from his tweets, I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on, because he's a bit of a smartass on his Twitter account. So I'm never 100% sure what he's saying is real and what he's saying is him just screwing with somebody. So then I kind of poked around to see if there was someplace else that gave some sort of hard fact on it. So
Well, it's funny
whatever.
you mentioned that particular situation because the next news item that I have here is a similar situation in that it's a recent news item, and I found out about it by someone retweeting Dan Slott's one of Dan Slott's tweets. So I'll talk about that in a second. So the next bit of news I want to bring up is that Peter Parker is coming back to be the Amazing Spider-Man, apparently, starting this April.
Issue number 1 of Amazing Spider-Man.
That's right.
I loved it when you sent that email to me that we were talking about this, and you got in parentheses April Fool's joke, because that's what it feels like to me.
Well, see, and that's the thing, because when I read that when I started reading the tweets from Dan Slott, he kind of had this back and forth between Rich Johnston from Bleeding Cool,
right.
And he said something about, well, one, he said something about how Johnston reported this and reported something wrong. I don't know exactly what the details are about that, but at one of his tweets mentioned something about an April Fool's joke. Well, Amazing Spider-Man #1 comes out in April. So is this for real, or is it just another stunt?
Well, if it's for real in that it's not like it's just on Bleeding Cool. And for people who don't know, Richard Johnson, he's the editor, kind of the person that runs, create, and is responsible for Bleeding Cool. But I don't know. It's on all the other news sites. What, today? Like, wasn't it supposed to be in like the newspapers or something today?
Well, yeah, and it was in an established newspaper. In the New York Daily News, or I can't remember now.
One of them, anyway. Yeah.
But I did see the article, so it is out there. But that doesn't mean necessarily.
Oh, that's not April Fool's. Sure.
Yeah, that it's not something. But I would tend to give this one the benefit of the doubt, because it is being reported in a major newspaper.
I'll love it. If it's an April Fool's joke, I'll love it. not for the fans, but I'll love it just for my own personal. This is Marvel really saying F you, because a lot of fans think the whole Superior Spider-Man is a big F you. So I don't know. To me, that I don't know that.
What do you think about
my
bringing back Peter Parker?
My understanding is they're going to run both of them together. Superior Spider-Man's going to keep going, and Amazing Spider-Man.
What? I have to buy 2 Spider-Man books now?
There's only one Spider-Man book. And it ended what?
When it comes out.
And it ended what? Around 700? Is that where it ended?
Oh, jeez. You know what? I've been really enjoying Superior Spider-Man. I haven't read a continual Spider-Man comic since the late 80s, and so I jumped on board the Superior Spider-Man, and I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. So,
awesome.
Whatever.
I haven't read a Spider-Man book since the late 80s either, and I tried jumping on that. And
so, are you going to join? Are you going to join back onto the bandwagon when Amazing comes out?
No, it's written by Dan Slott. No.
Oh, really? So it's Dan Slott you don't like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's funny. He's a bit of a joke, but whatever. Yeah. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that because he might ban this whole broadcast and whatnot.
Okay. Well, all right. I won't ask you about it then. To explain more about that.
Well, I don't know. He's pretty quick to block people on Twitter, even if you're not even actually criticizing him. You can just be having a conversation around him, and he'll. Yeah.
Really?
At any rate. Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, he's a bit touchy.
Okay.
But
Whatever.
and you wouldn't think he would be, considering the position that he holds and whatnot. You'd think after a while it would be like, yeah, whatever.
Well, yeah. So one of the things in the news report that I saw was that he was talking about how he had to be evil and tell these young fans of Spider-Man that Peter Parker was dead, and how they cried in front of him. And he said it was I died a little bit inside every time, but you know what? He still did it.
Yeah, he's full of crap. I mean,
Anyway.
don't get me wrong. I appreciate the whole Superior Spider-Man, the idea that's there. Didn't really care for the execution of it though. So I don't know. Parker coming back, that's cool, because there are a lot of people who love Parker and want Parker back. I like Parker. I like the idea of Parker. Am I gonna buy a Spider-Man book? I don't think so. I think it's also unfortunate that they're choosing to bring Amazing Spider-Man back and start it over at #1, and that's just me being the stupid old guy, I guess.
Hey, this is the all new Marvel now. Everything has to start at #1.
I know everything.
So often.
Every 12 to 16 months, they need to restart it. I don't know. To me that just but that, like I said, that's just the old school me. I understand the idea of a new #1. It'll sell huge. Everybody will go out and buy that. Everybody's gonna go out and buy Amazing Spider-Man #1. Everybody.
I'm gonna buy it. I'll
See?
buy it. I want to see what it's about. Like I said, I've had a lot of fun with Superior Spider-Man,
Hmm.
and I want to see what Dan Slott's going to do with Peter Parker returning. So, eh.
So he's going to be writing what? Superior Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and Silver Surfer.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I'm not. I'm interested. I'm curious to see how they bring him back, what it's all about, and whatnot. But I don't know that I'm curious enough to actually go out and buy the book.
hmm Well, I'll tell you what. I'll buy it, and then I'll let you read mine.
Well, everybody I know is gonna buy it. It's not like it's like I said, it'll sell bajillions. It will. It'll sell tons.
Yeah.
But
Hey, this is your chance, Travis. Buy a bunch of copies, sell them on eBay, and become a millionaire overnight.
yeah.
Is
But
that how it worked in the '90s?
I I don't know. I didn't collect in the '90s. I missed all that. I'm sorry. I really did.
Okay.
And actually, I'm not
I'll
sorry at
spoil it
all.
for you. Yeah, I'll spoil it for you. It didn't work that way.
Is that why I can find all those Death of Supermans for 25 cents or less in the bins laying all over the place?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Still in their plastic
I,
bags, even?
you know what? I bought that issue, and I tore it out of the plastic bag. I broke a cardinal sin right there.
What? You wanted to read it?
Yeah, I did.
Damn.
I even had the black mourning band that came with it, and I lost that somewhere.
Oh.
And I've seen those things on eBay. People are actually making money off those damn things.
That's because everybody else lost them too.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Like I said, it'll be interesting. I don't know how they're going to do it. But like I said, I heard that they're running both books together. So obviously he must find a new body, huh?
Hey,
I
it's
guess
the Clone Saga. It's the Clone Saga all over.
all over again.
Oh,
GMS raises his ugly head. Whoa.
this is going to be great. It's going to be a
Uh,
spectacle.
it could be. It could be. I don't know. For me, it seems like you can see the setup for this whole thing for Parker coming back, though, kind of written on the wall. Not how he gets a body and stuff, but the whole idea that they're reducing him back to what he was. They're gonna go. He's gonna go back to being the menace, right? That he was when we were reading the book. Back when all of New York as a whole kind of still hated him, and most of the other heroes thought he was a bad guy, and the Bugle's doing nothing but writing bad stuff about him. That's what they're taking him
Well,
back to.
well, they already have. I mean, Octavius is doing that for him. So Parker's going to come into this
Right. That's
with
what I'm
this
saying.
new reputation. Yeah.
That's
So
what
it's
I'm.
going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They're going to move them back to. They're going to move them back to that. Back to that. To that. So we're going to go right back to the stuff we were reading all those years ago, right? Or at least the same situation. So I don't know. Could be fun.
I've got some comments here. They're coming in through Google Plus on my phone, Travis. Hold on a second
Hmm.
while I get to that. Because I'm not seeing the comments show up here on the Google Hangout
Okay.
window.
Well, I got one comment on the on the through the Hangout box, and it's from Constant Bromfar. It's from Scott saying Marvel and DC are both full of no
Oh,
talent
there he is.
workshops that could not have an original idea to save their lives.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
there
kind
it
of
is. I see it now too.
it's kind of feeling that way right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I won't say they're no talent workshops, but they are having their problems. I'm a bit centrist when it comes to the whole Marvel DC and the talent and all that stuff. I don't think anybody that works there. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I don't think anybody that works, as a writer, a penciler, an inker, and a colorist, the people that actually produce the comics, I don't think that they want to produce bad stuff. They want to produce, the best stuff that they possibly can.
Hmm.
I will say I'll blame editorial more than anybody else for the screw ups that happen.
I mean, I don't even think it's editorial at the book level as much as it's the editorial, the next tier above that.
Oh yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
the corporate editorial is the problem with most of our big two comic books right now, as a
hmm
whole.
hmm
That's in my opinion. It's their unwillingness to actually explore what might be out there.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's a good segue, Travis, to go from the higher editorial and interference to talking about the next news bit, and that is Image Expo, the news coming out of Image Expo, because Image is all about creator owned and the creators forging their own destiny, as it
Yep.
were.
Hmm.
So did you read the rundown and all of the titles that they talked about?
I fortunately had that day off when they had their big thing where they're invited all the creators on stage to talk about them all and whatnot. So um, my Twitter feed was pretty full of people who were actually there and stuff. So it's pretty awesome to get a taste of that and then to run off to the actual Image page and read about the books as much as it was what little as there is. It's not like there's a lot there to tell us a lot about the books themselves, other than a title, an image or two that might have to do with the book, and knowing who the creators are. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what? Okay, so I saw the article on Comic Book Resources, and they had a poll. Which new Image title are you most looking forward to? And so I pulled that up,
uh-huh.
and let's see, this was about 2 hours ago. So I'm not sure if this information's changed, but we'll just go with this. So Travis, what do you think is the top most desired title?
I'm gonna guess that it's the Snyder book, the Snyder Jock book, Witches.
And you are correct.
Yeah, that's the name
Witches
everybody
with
knows.
Y.
Yeah, which is the Y because it's cool and not spelled right.
Yeah. Next, I'm just going to do the top five. Next is Nameless by Grant
Grant
Morrison and
Morrison.
Chris Burnham. The
Yeah.
Fade Out by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Mm.
Hold on, we'll come back to that. Low by Rick Remender and Greg Ticini. And number five, and this is the one I'm most looking forward to, and you need to let me know what you're most looking forward to, Travis. The Wicked and the Divine by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. So those are the top five.
Yeah.
So what are you most looking forward to out of these Image titles?
I have to pick one. God, I don't know, because I don't think there's a single one there that I'm not going to try.
Oh, you could do more than one.
To be quite honest, I don't
really?
think there's a single one there I'm not going to try. I'm a little hesitant on the Grant Morrison one because, unlike a lot of people, I'm not a real big fan of the artist. That's the same artist that was on.
Chris Burnham?
Yeah, that was on Batman Incorporated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and saddest, I'm not.
Wow, really? You don't like Chris Burnham?
I'm not. I don't hate him or anything. He's not my favorite. So there has to be something there that makes me really excited about it. Of course, the idea of Grant Morrison writing a horror book does interest me. And getting to see Grant go back to stretching his muscles on something that isn't layered with all the other minutia of the DC universe. I am interested. So I'll probably pick it up, but it's the one I'm probably the most hesitant on picking up. I actually really kind of want to see Bitch Planet, for instance.
I figured you would.
Of course, I love the cover image. I like the idea. I want to see what Kelly Sue's going to do, because she's going to take a trope, a women's prison exploitation type thing, and I'm hoping she's going to turn it on its ear, that she's going to do something with it, make some sort of a statement, make it a real statement piece. That's what I'm hoping for out of it, that it's not just going to be fluffy entertainment, that it's actually going to be some sort of a statement piece. And maybe I'm investing too much in it already as far as what I'm hoping it'll be, but that may wreck it for me when it actually comes out. I don't know, but I'm hoping for that to be pretty cool. Shudder sounds like a book that could be interesting too. I'm not really familiar with the people who are working on it, but I kind of like the idea of seems like a lot of there's like 3 or 4 books that are kind of mythos, urban fantasy type books, because The Divine and the Wicked, which I'm very excited to read, I really like those two creators together. They work really well with each other and seem to always have the same vibe and on the same page and whatnot. And I like I like Kierion's work when he's allowed to just kind of do what he wants to do. For me, he does a great job of kind of blending pop culture and music and all that stuff, and to tell some kind of curious thing. And so I'm excited by that. But that's kind of an urban mytho kind of thing too. It has to do with gods in some sense or another. Bill Willingham, of course, has a book coming out under Image, which I'm drawing a blank. Reconstructed, is that what it's called? Drawing a blank.
Restoration.
Restoration.
Restoration with Barry Kitson.
Yeah. I'll probably pick that up. That has to do with gods too. The gods are back and reclaiming their influences or whatever. So, and then what? There was another one that was kind of urban. The Shutter, I think the Shutter is supposed to be kind of an urban magic mytho kind of a thing too. So kind of interesting that there's quite a few of those kind of things going. I'm super stoked for another volume of Casanova. I absolutely love Casanova. I find it very fascinating that Casanova, of course, started out with Image, made zero money for Matt Fraction because it was before Matt Fraction was a name. He starts working for Marvel, obviously, and then he moves. They move Casanova to the Icon imprint, which is Marvel's kind of the equivalent of Vertigo. It's kind of their creator-owned imprint. He re-releases all the old stuff and puts out a new chapter of the book, and now he's going back to Image with the title. So it obviously must. I'd be really curious to see why the decision was there. Is he making more money with Image? Can he do what he wants to do more? Does he have more? Does he have more ownership of it? I mean, what's the logic to going back to Image again with it? I'm
well,
curious.
It's curious. Yeah. So apparently, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips are doing the same thing because they released their incognito volumes through Marvel Icon, I believe, and because they talked about that, and they're coming back into Image too. So they're taking it from Icon and moving it back into printing under Image. So that's curious.
Yeah. Well, so I wonder if it had something contractual or something or other. To where it's like, hey, I want to do this stuff, and at the time their contract said that they had to work for Marvel, and they couldn't produce work outside of that, and so this was a way for them to satisfy the creator side of them. Marvel went, okay, you can put it out under. I mean, because there's really nothing coming out underneath the Icon imprint, right? Scarlet, whenever that ever comes out, right? And that's about it now. Yeah. I don't know of anything else that's coming out under the Icon. I don't know.
Well, Powers is there too, and I don't know what else is there. Hey, we have a question from Will Sullivan a few minutes ago. Will either of you be picking up Witches? So I think you already answered that.
Oh, yes.
No, wait. Did you? You'll be picking up.
Oh, without.
Yeah.
Snyder and Jock, absolutely love the two of them together. Probably one of my favorite, all-time favorite Batman runs is them when they did detective work together. Out of all,
I know you're a big fan of that.
Out of all the Batman stuff, so without a doubt, I'll be picking that up. I mean, it's basically what the pitch is. The pitch in the description for it is everything you knew about witches is wrong. They're way more scarier, and Scott Snyder is quoted as saying, "My entire goal is to scare the shit out of you." So I'm on board to see how he can frighten me. So.
Was it him or was it somebody? Because you talk about the urban fantasy, I think you said, or something like that. What I got out of a lot of these books is that there are a lot of horror or dark fantasy type stuff, and I can't remember if it was Snyder or somebody else's book or somebody else who talked about their book, and they said that they hope that some 12-year-old steals it and it scares the crap out of them.
Awesome.
Presumably to get them hooked, I guess, but
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
but
that's all of our.
I'm looking forward to that too.
That's what a lot of our experiences are, though, isn't it? Right? That coveted thing you're not supposed to have a hold of. You get a hold of it, and it just kind of informs your tastes or whatever for time memoriam after that. So, yeah, I'm excited for that book. I mean, is it the book I'm most excited about? I don't know. I'm really excited by all of them. There wasn't, like I said, there wasn't a single one there that I went, I can miss that. They all sounded really cool to me. Now I'll be curious to see when do these books actually really come out, because one thing about these Image Expos is they're, in my opinion, notorious for listing 14 books they're going to release, and we might see 3 the next year. So.
And they have 18.
18
18
books.
listed here, and that doesn't even count. Yeah, that doesn't even count Casanova coming back.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, 18. So do you remember from last year's Expo, Travis, how many books that were announced that actually did release in the following year?
I'd
It
have
was
to
just a
sit down.
handful, wasn't it?
I had to sit down and count 7, maybe. Things like
Okay.
things like they said they're going to put out a phonogram 3 that never saw the light of day, and now the creators that were going to do that are releasing something else. So I think that probably changed enough that they decided they were doing something different. Would be my guess. I don't think we'll ever see
Hmm.
that. At least not now. We're not going to see that. Um,
Well, no, they
so
did talk about that. So that's Jamie McKelvey, right? That's doing that,
Curie and
or
Gillen,
is it
yeah,
or is it
both of them.
Gillen? So
It's both of them.
okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, so what the article that I read, they talked about this specifically, where McKelvey would do the first arc or storyline for the Wicked and the Divine. Some other artist would come in and do the next arc, while McKelvey
Oh,
goes and does the next phonogram, and then come back after that. So I
oh,
I, I
awesome.
I love that idea.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I'm all for
Yeah.
that. I mean, I was okay with them not doing it if they were if if something else struck them as creators their fancy or whatever. Now, I
Hmm.
mean, I don't think that Image is just throwing a bunch of stuff out there and seeing what the fans are excited about, and that's what they produce, and they don't produce the other stuff. Because all this stuff that gets released, at least the last couple of years, all the stuff that gets released um, has, you know, talents we know their names attached to it. So I think it's stuff that those creators want to do, but it being kind of a creator-owned thing, and the creators are the ones they're fronting their time and money basically to get the book out there, right? It's not Image that's fronting really anything to initially get the book out. They're not putting out the risk. It's the creators that are. Then obviously, if other commitments take over, they end up not. It doesn't get done, or it takes longer for it to get done because they've got other commitments, or whatever. So I don't have anything against the the Image Expo and how they do this. I just am curious. I'll be curious to see how many of these actually see the light of day, and when do they? I don't
Right.
want I don't want
Yeah.
to sound like that I'm pointing at them and saying you guys suck because you announced this stuff and then we never see it. I mean, because we haven't seen Southern Bastards yet, and I'm still waiting for that. That was announced last year, that Jason Aaron and Latour book, and I
Mm.
still want to see that, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's one of those kind of things that they have other commitments, so they haven't gotten far enough along that they can release it, or whatever. Or things in your life. My kid needs new shoes. Do I want to do contract work, which I know I'm getting paid, a square amount of money for, or do I risk my comfortable family life for the creator-owned book? I'm sure from a creator standpoint, a lot of that stuff they have to wonder about.
Oh yeah, they have to juggle it. So, but I will say I appreciate that, even though I don't look at these announcements as promises that this stuff is going to happen anytime soon. But I appreciate the fact that we don't get a bunch of new titles dumped on us all at once. A la New 52 and
Oh, no
some of the
doubt.
Marvel Now stuff. So it's really it helps my pocketbook
Yeah. Well,
considerably.
trust me, that cross as I'm on the day they announced all those books, I'm like going, wow, okay, there's one book I'm not going to get. I'm not going to get Airboy. Um,
Hmm.
that book doesn't really interest me. Uh, but as all these stuff's being announced, I'm thinking, where am I going to fit this in? Where am I going to? I mean, I have a somewhat flexible budget, but okay, so am I going to quit eating lunch to to get all these books,
Tra-
or what am I
Travis,
cutting?
don't do that. You can't cut your lunch out. You will waste away.
To nothing, I know.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know,
but
you stick man, you.
it's like I'm thinking. So what books am I gonna cut? Something has to go if I'm gonna put all these books in. If they literally in this next year, 2014, they're gonna put out, you know, 12 books even that I know for sure I want to read. Wow, I don't know.
Yeah, that's only one a month averaged out. Come on. Before
Yeah,
we move on, Travis, Will Sullivan again. I hate Chris Burnham. Okay. I don't.
I
Why
don't
don't you guys like Chris
I don't
Burnham?
hate
Come
him. I just
on.
don't like his style. I
Uh,
don't like his style. The big jawed, the
okay.
big jawed. I don't know. There's something about him. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then How do you say his name, Travis?
Kostin Bromstar. Kostin Bromstar.
Kostin
Scott.
Bromstar.
It's Scott.
Scott. Okay, Scott. I have to remember that. Sorry, Scott. Images, Nailbiter looks fantastic, and Nailbiter is the one that is by Joshua Williamson and Mike Henderson.
Yeah, it's a serial killer one, right?
And that was, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, isn't that the one that is all the serial killer or the like a huge number of serial killers are from this small town in Oregon. They're trying to figure out why.
Oh, cool.
I think that's the one. That so
I
that's
live
sort of
close enough
local
to
to
Oregon
us. So
I was just say I live close enough to Oregon. That could be exciting. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I wonder if they're actually gonna.
And Nick Spencer announced 3 books? He's got 3 books coming out from Image. So is he just like? Is he just like quitting doing everything else he's doing? He must.
I guess. Yeah, he's got 3, and they're all in the bottom 5, according to that poll.
Whatever. That's just CBR people.
All right. Yeah. That's true. I am looking most forward to though the Gillen and McKelvey one though. But there's a bunch more I'm gonna get. So we'll just see when they actually get announced and solicited, and we can buy them. So. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. Oh, we got some more comments here. Reader 1717 is here and says, "I'm curious to read Witches as well."
Yeah.
And Scott says, "I won't repeat the word. F lunch. You need comics. Come on."
Oh, thanks, Ray.
That's great.
We know where it's at.
That's right. Comics over anything else.
That's right.
Right.
I'll live off the fumes of just all that paper and ink.
You remember when comics used to smell, Travis? When it was on that old paper?
Yeah.
I miss that.
I don't. I really don't.
Oh. Well, I miss it until I pull one out from my drawer box and open it up to do like a random Monday post, and I get that overpowering old paper smell, and it's like maybe I don't like it so much.
Yeah, I'm told that's what happens when you put them in plastic instead of putting them in the Mylites or whatever, the Mylar.
Oh, really? I wondered about that. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. There's a bunch of Marvel stuff I have on here. Like, oh wow, a bunch of them. Okay, I guess it's a Marvel breaking late news edition.
Not a whole lot going on DC wise, huh?
I guess the Marvel segment of breaking late news. Okay, let's see. So some of these things are a while ago. That's why I call this breaking late news.
Yep.
So Marvel announced free digital collections for select titles. So basically, you spend your $3.99 on a comic, and you can eventually, I guess, get the first trade of that comic, which
digitally.
I know you're not a big digitally, yeah. I know you're not a big digital fan, Travis, but that's a big deal. Spend $4 and get a $20 trade, a digital version of that. That's.
But what for?
I think
how much is Marvel Unlimited?
A lot. I don't know how much exactly, but
$70.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you're talking in terms of getting the most bang for your buck, then yeah, Marvel Unlimited is the way to go.
What? So our Marvel Unlimited is like $70 or something like that? I don't know what it is.
I thought it was more like 100.
Okay, so let's say
you're
it's
probably
100.
right.
So it's 100. So how many single issues, $4 issues do I have to buy?
To make it worthwhile.
A year. If I buy a year's worth of a comic, right, and I'm going to get a digital trade, well, for that same year's worth of comic, I can have that whole comic plus whatever the hell else I want. So if you're going to go to digital, that's no kind of nugget at all. To me, that's silly. That's boy, you're a sucker and aren't paying attention to your money. If that's a selling point for you, and you like digital, screw that. Just go with the other. You can't read it the month it comes out. That's true. But if you're banking on that digital trade down the road, by the time that digital trade comes out, it's going to be sitting in the bank at Marvel Unlimited, right?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Can you tell this isn't a selling point for me?
I could tell.
Okay.
I see. I thought it was an interesting way to get people interested in reading more digital comics, because you get the trade instead. You buy one issue, you get a trade. So instead of spending 25, $30, you spend $4 and get a whole storyline potentially. Um,
It's
and
horrible.
and maybe you buy that first issue, the introductory issue of some title, and then you get to read a bunch more comics for one price. So I thought that was an interesting way of doing it. I don't know how successful it'll be.
It's horrible.
Digital is the wave of the future, Travis. You just have to accept it.
No, I don't. I don't have to accept that at all. Digital will also digital will also be the death of how we know comics right now too. It's going to kill sequential art. Then it's just going to be a bunch of pictures that you look at one at a time on the screen, as opposed to having page layouts matter and all that kind of stuff. It'll all go away.
You know what? I think we need to talk to some artists about this and see what their opinion about this is. Because I've read some things from some artists that they look at it as potentially freeing, and they can push the boundaries of the page that way. Now they haven't done that yet, based on any digital
How?
comics
Who?
I've read.
Where? Yeah. Yeah.
All right, all right. Well, I just want to mention it because I thought it was an interesting idea.
Oh, yeah, it's really interesting.
Because I know. I know at one point Marvel did, if you bought the physical comic, you got a digital comic download code.
Still doing that.
But I've been getting, are they? Because I looked at the comics that I'm getting from Marvel, and I don't see that damn code anywhere.
As of real recently, I mean, maybe not this month's comics, but it's as of real recently. A comic book mom
Okay,
was just on Twitter yesterday, giving out codes still for whatever book she was reading. So it had to have been
Oh yeah, you're right. I did notice that.
fairly recently. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just the books I'm getting. I don't. Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. All right. All right. So let's see. Marvel also will be publishing Star Wars comics starting in 2015. So that was no big surprise, right?
No,
Once
we
we
talked
knew
about
Disney bought Star Wars.
we talked about that a year and a half ago when they bought Star Wars. Like, oh wow, what's that going to be like for Dark Horse? You know, when does their contract
Yep.
end? And we knew it was 2015. So yeah.
So it's interesting. So for the people for the Dark Horse buyers, if you buy again, we'll bring up digital, but if you bought the Star Wars comics digitally, I guess there was some question about whether or not
Dark Horse would be allowed to.
you would still have access to those digital comics, and the answer, at least right now, from Dark Horse is yes, you will. So that's good. But yeah, the whole Star Wars thing, I thought it would happen a lot sooner, quite honestly.
Really? No, you thought that Marvel would actually try and put out Star Wars books while Dark Horse was putting it out? I bet you Dark Horse had
No,
something that said, oh,
no, I figured that Disney would cancel the contract and move it to Marvel sooner than they did, and maybe
I don't think
that's that. Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe that wasn't even possible.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just waiting until Dark Horse's licensing.
I think they bought
ran
the
out or
rights.
something.
I think they bought the rights to produce Star Wars comics until X year. I think that's why Dark Horse could say yes, for sure, we are producing these books up until this point because they had the contract to do that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
But that is good to know. I mean, this digital era, that's good to know that they still have because that's always kind of a curious question about digital comics. I mean, when a producer or the person who's running the server or whatever, if something happens, what happens to your books? That's kind of a
which is why I don't buy digital in terms of reading month-to-month comics. I'll go on Comixology and I'll take advantage of a 99-cent sale for something that I haven't read before,
Mm-hmm.
or that I've wanted to read, or like when you do your comic book parfait shows. If another member on the show recommends something that I haven't read before and it's available on Comixology, I'll go get it there because it's probably a lot easier to go, especially if it's a back issue, to go and get that back issue from Comixology than it is to go to any shop that I live nearby and try and find it. And it's probably going to be more than what Comixology is going to charge me. So
yeah.
We got a few more comments here, Travis, from Reader 1717. I'm stoked to hear Peter Parker is coming back. About time. So also looking forward to Magneto, She-Hulk, and
Iffy about
iffy
Silver
about
Surfer.
Silver Surfer because of the companion angle.
Yeah, we don't need another Doctor Who book. I agree with you.
Well, IDW lost the license to Doctor Who, so maybe this will be a nice filler for that
That's not
idea.
what a
I don't
Silver Surfer book should be. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I was originally going to pick up the Silver Surfer book because I like the idea of Mike Allred doing Silver Surfer, but I'm not sure I can just pick it up for the art, and so not at the the $4 price tag. So She-Hulk.
And
I'll
isn't
definitely-
Dan Slott writing it?
Yes, he is. Not that I really have anything against Dan
So.
Slott per se, but I just don't. I don't.
Uh,
It doesn't excite me. Yeah.
yeah. Well, Silver Surfer doesn't excite me. I was only interested because of Allred. But I don't think I'm going to get that either.
Yeah.
And then also Scott comes back with digital is evil.
Oh.
Evil, I tells you. That's not what he says. The
Yeah.
kind of evil that is reminiscent of pushing Valiant comics on children.
Scott Scott
Wait.
had really
Wait.
bad experiences with Valiant comics when Valiant first came out in the 90s. So
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask. Was it the old Valiant or
Old
the
Valiant.
current Valiant that you
Old
talked
Valiant.
about? Yeah. Okay. Scott's funny. I like him.
Yeah. Scott's good people.
All right. So let's move on. We got a bunch more things, and we're running out of time. I didn't want to go over an hour on this. So, and we're getting really close to that. Okay. So, just real quick, Disney also buys Marvel, gets Star Wars, and now owns Indiana Jones.
They're going to own all
Disney
of
is
pop
buying
culture.
up all of I was going to say everything that we cherish in our childhood, but
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Okay. A couple more Marvel things, real quick. Marvel. So everyone's favorite watcher Uatu is apparently going to be meeting his maker in the next Marvel or a Marvel event. I don't know if it's exactly the next one. I think it is. I think it's coming out in spring this year, called Original Sin.
Why would they tell us that?
That Uatu is going to
They're
be
gonna kill
dead.
him. Yeah. Why would
Murdered?
they do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
well,
because
it's not
we've-
about.
Is it because we've gone, oh my God, every quarter there's a Marvel event. I'm so sick of these. Why would I pick up the next one? And them just saying, well, it's going to be great. It's going to be earth-shattering. It's going to be changing everything isn't enough. So now they have to basically tell us the plot by saying this dude's going to die.
Well, but the murder isn't the important thing. It's finding out who did it and why and the fallout. That'll be the point of the story. So the murder is just the hook to get us interested in reading it, I guess.
Okay.
It's another Marvel event, Travis. Come on.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Is that it's an event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so last Marvel thing. This is just going to be real quick. Stan Lee will be making a guest appearance on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in an upcoming episode. How excited are you for that, Travis? Stan Lee.
I don't watch the show, so whatever.
Really? You've not watched it? Not at all?
I watched it to start out with, but could not take it. So there you go. And then that'll lead into us having an argument about which is the better show, Arrow or S.H.I.E.L.D. And I know you don't like Arrow.
I was going to say,
so
but you watch Arrow, so
yes,
what?
I do.
I don't understand.
There's a huge difference between the two.
Yeah, I know. One's much better than the other. Anyway.
You're right.
We'll just have to leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, okay,
No,
so
I mean, that's
Stan
cool.
Lee, does
That's
he
cool.
have to be in everything? No.
Sure,
That's
why
not?
not?
Cool.
Why not? Why not? It's become a thing. It's become a thing, so of course they're
It
going to
shouldn't
have
be
it.
a thing.
It shouldn't have been a thing from the very beginning, but somehow somebody made it one, and so now it is.
Yeah, I know. I wish it would stop. I'm so sick of Stan Lee. I'm sick of his cameos in all the movies, and now he's going to do it on S.H.I.E.L.D. Ugh.
Guy's a genius.
Oh, no doubt.
Because
No
he's been
doubt.
doing this. Because he's been doing this his entire comic book career.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Showing up. He's
he
got figured out how to show up in the right place at the right time.
he came up with a fantastic, long lasting shtick. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So good for him.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
hope
All right.
I can have that kind of work when I'm 90, whatever he is.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, he definitely, like I said, he came up with a really good thing
Yeah.
for him. And,
So
and I know a lot of fans think it's really cool. And I admit, when I first saw him, have a cameo in the Marvel movies, look at Stan Lee, that's great,
well, because it felt like a wink and a nod, didn't it?
Yeah,
The
exactly,
first time was
exactly.
like, hey, all you comic book, people out there, wink nod.
Hmm.
Now it's not a real Marvel thing if it doesn't have him in it.
Well, and that's my problem with it is that it has to have Stan Lee in it if it's a Marvel thing. It's like,
Sure.
no, it doesn't. We don't need Stan Lee in everything. Having said that, I enjoy his best cameo. I think was probably in the Amazing Spider-Man when he was the janitor and all this stuff was going on around him and he's oblivious. I love that. Travis shrugs. All
I
right.
didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Oh, you didn't watch Amazing Spider-Man? What? You got
Unlike you, I don't have to see every quote unquote superhero movie that comes out. So
I,
there you go.
I I find that really funny because you were such a huge Spider-Man fan back in the day.
I was, but if you can't do it right, I'm not going to go and experience it either.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now wait a minute. How do you know they didn't do it right if you didn't go watch it?
All I do is listen to everybody else. I know they're not going to do it right. Have they done it right yet? No. So what's
They
going
got pretty close.
to fundamentally change? Nothing. Nothing about it is going to
Uh,
fundamentally change.
you naysayer.
It's no. Get real comic people to do it, and then maybe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. A few more comments before we get to the last bits of news. Let's see. Carlos Infante. I hope I said that right, Carlos.
Yeah, I
There
kill
are
his
a
last name too.
there are a ton of rumors about books DC will be putting out in April. I've heard mumblings of
Sinestro, we know is not a rumor. It's pretty
right,
much
right. What are the other ones? I'm not hip on that news, Travis.
I don't know. That's kind of what I've been hearing that people have been saying. Ooh, there's this, but I haven't seen anywhere what actually says anything.
Hmm.
So, somebody wants to enlighten us. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So Will Sullivan, and maybe this is one of them. Did you
Secret
guys ever
Origins.
hear about Secret Origins from DC? Yes, I just read about that recently. So apparently that's going to be coming out
What?
of Forever Evil, I
What's
guess.
that?
I think it's just kind of to.
I mean, because there
I'm
already was
talking
Secret
out the side of
Origins,
my
right?
mouth.
Right? I mean, Secret Origins
You're
is
talking about the
something.
zero issue stuff?
No,
Oh, yeah, the old
there's
title.
Secret. Well, way back there was Secret Origins. That's why
Yeah, yeah,
they're just.
yeah. So they're just reusing that, but I
Oh,
think it's
okay.
supposed to reestablish what the status quo is for particular characters. I think that's what it's about, coming out of Forever Evil.
Okay. So
I'm
kind of
not
a
a big
year
fan of
one.
those either. I know.
So kind of a year one kind of
Yeah,
a thing of sorts. Hmm.
yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, a couple more things,
As long
and
as it's its
unless
own
you have.
thing, Secret Origins, as long as it's its own thing, and not yet another thing that's going to interrupt the plot lines that are in the regular books, I'm okay with that. Because then I can
Hmm.
check out the ones I feel like checking out and not the ones I don't, and that's cool or whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be another crossing over thing that's going to jack up every storyline in all the books. That's what I don't
Or
want.
or be something like DC Universe or DC Legacies. Was it DC Universe Legacies or DC Legacies? I can't remember. Anyway, that series that I think Len Wein wrote that right
Uh-huh.
before the New 52, where it
Right.
was retelling
The Silver Age.
the history of the DC Universe,
Yeah.
and that was just I didn't like that. I hope they don't do something like that. I hope it's every issue is like standalone,
Right.
kind of like what you're saying. So here's the issue about Batman. Here's the
Here's the
issue about
whatever, whoever.
whatever.
Yeah.
Or Travis, they use this as a means to introduce even more new
New
characters that we haven't
characters.
seen yet, like Doom Patrol,
Yeah.
like
There you
you're
go.
hoping.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
All right, so a couple more things. So Travis? We haven't talked about the Netflix stuff, have we?
I don't think so.
The Marvel TV Netflix. I think I talked with Greg about that
Yeah,
on one of
no.
the podcasts.
Yep, it was.
So they're Marvel's doing all those Netflix series: Daredevil, Luke Cage, what else? Iron Fist. I'm blanking on some of the other ones. And then eventually they're gonna come out with a Defender, so to bring all those characters together and do a
Oh, I hadn't heard the
Defenders
Defender thing.
series.
Oh, ooh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So it's going to be Jessica. Is it Jessica Jones or is it Jessica Drew? I always get that mixed up. Who they're going to do? I thought it was Jessica Jones, but I heard someone on another podcast talking about it being Jessica Drew. So I'm not sure. Anyway,
Spider-Woman?
yeah, it might be Spider-Woman or it might be just Jessica Jones. I'm not sure. I think I would bet it would be better if they did Spider-Woman because she's more known.
Yeah,
than Jessica Jones.
But Jessica Jones would be easier to do because she's street level.
Yeah.
All those characters as a whole seem to be street level type characters. But anyway, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that.
I think I'm planning another one.
As much as I go, ooh, they don't make movies the way they need to be and whatnot. I, as a general rule, I like the TV series type thing, so I'm okay with it being serialized. I'm excited for the Netflix stuff. To at least try it all out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. Although Travis, and this is the bit of news I wanted to bring up, was that Drew Goddard is going to be the showrunner for the Daredevil series, and I don't know if you recognize the name, but he worked on a bunch of Joss Whedon shows.
Of course.
But he's a really good producer though. He's done some stuff on his own, but I know you're not a big fan.
As long as he doesn't have Whedon's sense of humor, I'm okay.
So yeah, I am stoked for these Netflix series. I can't wait for them to come out.
Yep.
Some more comments about what we just talked about from Scott. You can't kill Uatu. Geez, he's the only non-jerk guy out there. Might as well kill off. Oh, I love this. Might as well kill off Crypto or a bunch of baby white tigers. Oh, Scott.
No doubt. No doubt.
Oh my gosh. And Will Sullivan says, "I love Stan Lee's cameos." Okay, I totally get that. Like I said, I get it, but it's like, man, everything, every time. Anyway, and Carlos Infante says Aquaman and the Others. Oh yeah, I just read about that too yesterday. Is another rumored book. So. That's interesting. I wonder
a team book with Aquaman in it?
I guess, yeah.
I don't know who the others are because I'm not.
I was gonna say because you don't read Aquaman, right? Monthly. So the Others is this group of heroes, for lack of a better word, that Aquaman teamed up with before the Justice League, and they've been in a few storylines in the monthly book. So I'm wondering if they're going to do 2 Aquaman books, or is this going to replace the current Aquaman book? I can't imagine they would put out 2 Aquaman books. That's amazing to me.
That would be
idea.
crazy. Huh?
But the Others, Travis, are really popular. They've become really popular within the Aquaman book. So I'm totally going to get that. I shouldn't say that. I didn't know who's going to be behind it first.
So the creators matter.
The creators do matter. Yeah, which is why I was considering Silver Surfer.
Yeah. I'll have to look up the Others. Huh. Cool.
Yeah, you should. You can. I'll let you read mine if you want. And finally, so more TV talk. So there was that announced series Gotham that they're going to do. I think it's on. Was it CW?
Yeah.
Or is it Fox?
No, it's CW.
It's CW, yeah. So they're going to do. A look at the Gotham City Police Department. And then, so there was talk about, how much, would Batman be in it, or would he be in it at all? And like I said, Greg and I talked about this on my movie and TV talk episode of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we discussed was, how much would we like Batman to be involved in this? And we both agreed, and Travis, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. Both agreed that we thought that, they should keep Batman in as little as possible.
Yeah.
And just focus on Gordon and the cops and the other characters that go along with it.
Without a doubt. Yeah, Batman shouldn't be part of it at all. I mean, other than obviously he's out there, you know. But yeah, it kind of as soon as you introduce Batman, then it kind of, I don't know, it feels to me like then the show should be a Batman show and it shouldn't be this other thing. So I think you should keep it,
Yeah.
separate for sure.
Well, apparently we're going to be disappointed somewhat because this is the bit of news, Travis. Bruce Wayne, and this, like I said, this news is probably a few weeks old.
Hmm.
Bruce Wayne is going to be part of the regular cast of the show.
Now, see, I don't mind that though. That's kind of cool. Batman's not there. Bruce Wayne's there. Bruce Wayne is a huge machine in Gotham, isn't he? I mean, the Waynes are huge. I don't see how you can have the show without there being some Wayne influence in some sense or another.
Sure, sure. I
I
totally
guess
get that. I
I
agree,
guess you're right though.
but not as a regular cast member.
Yeah,
Maybe
you're right.
maybe as he'd come in every few shows or whatever.
Oh,
But
well,
to have him as a regular part of the show,
they're saying it's Fox too. William Sullivan's saying it's Fox.
is it Fox?
Okay.
I thought that might
Okay.
be Fox. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if it's a show about the cops, which is what it is, it's a show about the cops of Gotham. He's not a cop, so. But you're right. He was showing up. Well, what does a regular cast mean? What does regular cast mean? Does that mean he's going to be in every show, or does that just mean
Well,
that Bruce Wayne's an established character and you will see him?
that usually means, yeah. Will says Fox. It's Fox.
Yeah.
That usually means he is in the majority of the shows that are going to be aired. If you're going to be a regular cast member.
Okay. I
So
don't know.
whether or
Yeah,
not whether he just pops in for a scene every episode, or if he's
Right.
going to have a bigger involvement, well, it remains to be seen, of course. So
Curious. That is curious. I'm looking forward to the
yeah,
show, regardless.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of TV and movie stuff coming out. So that seems to be the big thing. I just wonder sometimes, with our comics, in this media age that we live in, it'd be extremely ironic, wouldn't it, Travis, if we continue the publishers of comics continue to make these deals and produce this stuff, the TV and the movie and whatever else comes down the road, animated shows and animated movies and games and all that stuff, and the comics end up withering on the vine and dying eventually.
mm,
But they live, these characters and these concepts live on, in the movies and TVs and all that stuff.
mhm. It's a definite possibility. I mean, without a doubt.
Does that worry you?
I don't think comics are going to go away, and I don't think that the big two comics are going to go away. They may be more reflective of the other media as opposed to the media attempting to reflect them. I don't think comics will go away in the same that LPs, vinyl hasn't really gone away. I mean, it's gotten much smaller. It's a much more of a much smaller market of specialties. We may be the odd people that are still collecting the books, down the road. I don't know, and there'll be a lot less. I mean, I certainly think there's going to be less. There's not going to be more. There's going to be less. And what it looks
It's
like,
funny,
I don't know.
but it's funny to hear you say that because look at how many comics are being published, new comics that keep getting announced, and I don't know what the aggregate is with the ones that get the axe and then are replaced with another one, but it just seems like between Image and Marvel, DC's not doing it so much now, but all the other independents, they're just constantly putting new stuff out. That's just a weird concept to me to think that the
Well,
comics are.
I think it's a better market for people like Image and the smaller companies. Because it's become the market has gotten smaller as a whole. I think there there's more opportunity for other voices to be heard now. That it's opening up for that. It's like that era of when we went through '80s music and whatnot. It seemed to be the hair bands. That's what there was, and then all of a sudden, alternative, what's quote unquote alternative, kind of cracked the door, and then suddenly there were all these varieties of different styles of, somewhat in the same vein, music. I think it's the same with comics. The doors have been cracked open now, and there's all this other stuff out there. But it's not like there's more people. But I don't think there's more people buying comics. You got the same, I don't know, 200,000 people buying comics, but now their tastes are being spread out amongst a bunch more stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seems to be Marvel's answer right now is it to restart and start things over and over again to keep people excited with the number ones. As long as they keep creating number ones, those books sell, so that keeps their market share fluffed up, putting out number ones. I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I don't want to say I don't think there's going to be a comic market, but I don't. It's going to be different, and I all that stuff, all those moving pieces make it hard to tell. What's going to influence what and stuff.
See, and that's exactly why I asked the question of you, but I'll admit I'm a little nervous about the future of comics for that very reason. I think like you that it will, the form will continue. The printed comic will continue in some form. Now, will it be what we have right now? Who knows? Yeah. But I'm worried about it a little bit.
Digital scares me more about, if you want to be quite honest, for me, digital scares me more than any of the other stuff does. Yeah. Not that I think digital comics are going to kill paper, but that as digital comics become more popular, they'll create books for digital and then back create it for paper, and it won't be the same. It won't have the same life on a page that it did back in the day or whatever. I don't know.
Well, either way, whether it's worrisome, it can also be potentially awesome. So time will tell. All right, Travis. I think we are just over an hour talking about all this news. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right. I want to thank everybody who joined us and submitted comments. Thank you very much. That's really cool. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to try this with Travis today, was to see, if anybody, do we like this format? Do you like this format? And see what the interaction is with this, because I've never hosted a hangout like this before, and Travis and I are considering doing this same exact thing for an upcoming Best of 2013 show, so that I can maybe get some people here to make comments and ask some questions and provide their input for the categories for the Best of 2013. And I'll be posting that stuff very soon on the website at longboxreview.wordpress.com. Travis, tell the people where they can find you.
I am on Phil's Thoughts on YouTube. You type in on Phil's Thoughts, and I should show up right away.
And of course, everybody here knows Travis very well, and he doesn't need to tell them that. But I will be broadcasting this on the podcast, audio only as well. So we got to get that plug in there. Also, you can follow us. I'm on Twitter at LongboxReview. Travis is at _Gaunt_man. And you can also email. Email. I was going to say voicemail, but I said email. Let's go with that. You can also email me at longboxreview@gmail.com. There's voicemail as well. Scott Snyder left me a voicemail once. So can you.
That was pretty awesome.
That's at 208-953-1841. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. Have a great day. Go read some comics.